Welcome to another episode from our Growth Tips series, the only place to grow you and your business and for you to live the life you want to live. In this episode, we look at how to set, plan, and achieve your marketing goals for your business. Your marketing needs a plan, a budget, and a calendar. These are the three core pieces to this triangular marketing success jigsaw. Set goals that are tied to your marketing plan, your marketing activities, and your marketing budget. So before we get into this, here's 10 elements that will make any goal more achievable. You must really want to accomplish the goal. You must believe that it's possible to accomplish the goal. You must put the goal in writing. You must list in detail all the benefits of achieving the goal. You must set a deadline. You must list what stands in the way of achieving the goal. You must list what skill, knowledge, and people you need to get the job done. You must have a plan to accomplish the goal. You must constantly revise your plan. And you must make a commitment to do whatever it takes to achieve the goal. Tony Robbins says, if you want to take the island, you need to burn the boats. There are two types of goal we need to consider. That's vision goals and tactical goals. Vision goals are what your business looks like in the future. What will your business need to look like, act like, and be for you to achieve your most important goals in your life? In 1 year, in 3 years, or in 5 years? What ideal experience or relationship do you want your customers to have with your business? Describe a perfect future day at work for you in the future when you've achieved that goal. Compare that to now. What needs to change? Step into that future self. What do you need to do to make up that difference between yourself of yesterday and your future self? Next is tactical goals. Tactical goals are tangible. The number of new customers, revenue increase, profit increase. Communicate these goals to everyone in the business. Your tactical goals need to include the following, and again, tie these into your vision goal. So you've got sales. What do your sales need to be to achieve your vision goal? If you don't know, just choose a number that you think sounds about right. Profit. Do you know what your current profit is? Would you like to improve that? That's a stupid question. But what would this number be to achieve your lifestyle or vision goals? And how does that compare to your current business situation? How does it compare to your sales goal? Here's an example. If your current business is doing $500,000 in sales with 20% profit, and your future goal is to do 2 million sales and 15% profit, you'd expect that to be achievable. If, however, it was 2 million sales but 70% profit needed, you'd obviously have to adjust one or the other. Your income, as above, if you rely on the business to give you that income, you need to tie it in and aim to get a relative income from your other two goals. Otherwise, you might achieve the sales and profit goals but fail on the income goals. And there's nothing worse than working every hour of the day to achieve your sales goals, but then not achieving the goal that impacts your personal goals the most. Some other areas to set targets are the number of active suspects, the free products distributed, the prospects generated, how many appointments you've made, the prospects that converted to customers, how many first-time customers, how many website visitors, how many PR mentions, the number of referrals, how many business cards did you hand out, How many workshops did you present? And how many testimonials did you receive? Once you've set goals for your sales, your profit, and your income, you should break these down into figures per hour. So if you worked 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year, that equates to 2,000 hours in the year. Now, if your income figure is 2 million, your business needs to generate £1,000 every hour, 40,000 every week, 167,000 every month, or £500,000 every quarter. By understanding this, you can determine what resource you'll need in terms of sales teams, marketing activity, but also what capacity you'll need to deliver on those extra sales goals when you do achieve them. You might find there just isn't the manpower or resources available for you to reach your delivery goals, so the business will fail. Write down every task and the time it takes to do each one. Then assign a money value to each task based on your earnings. If your income goal is 100,000 spread over 2,000 hours a year, that works out at £50 per hour plus any expenses, tax, etc. Now look at your list of tasks. How many of those could you have paid someone less than £50 an hour to complete? Here's an example to illustrate the point I'm making. An architect decides to build a house for himself. Rather than employing a building company, he decides to do the work himself with a builder friend. This architect can normally earn £100 per hour for doing design work. But instead, he's on a building site digging the house foundations by hand. Now, first of all, he could have done the work much faster with an excavator. But secondly, he could have paid someone, say £10 an hour, to dig the foundations for him. His budget was limited and he didn't want to pay someone else to do it. He couldn't see that rather than paying £10 an hour, he was actually losing £90 an hour. As it turned out, he actually ended up having a heart attack and he had to get a building firm in to take over the work. It was something that nearly cost him his life, his house, and his business. The key thing that makes all of this work is to focus on the really small details, like how many leads that you need to generate or how many referrals. Over time, you'll have an estimate of how much your average customer is worth and what percentage of people come through at each stage. Tell the world your vision. Where do you want the business to be in 5 years? And you'll be amazed at how far people will go to help you achieve that. The next step is to constantly measure and keep track of your marketing performance. Use a chart in your office to keep everyone up to speed on performance at each stage in that process. This keeps everyone motivated to keep pushing on each area and keep getting better. Even if it's just, say, half a percentage point better. It's good to use coloured symbols or pens to show it as well. For example, a green pen if it's improving, orange if it's stable, or red if it's declining. Using this type of system also lets you identify any problem areas. So if you're generating lots of leads, but only converting a small number, for example, it could be a problem in your lead conversion process. The good news is you can look at each of these as an opportunity to significantly upshift your business. If you've got one poor performing stage, but you can improve it by just 10%, that could mean 100% uplift in your sales figures. From just one improvement, obviously depending on where in the marketing system that the problem lays. So where do you start in building a marketing budget? Most small businesses say what budget, or they'll base the budget on a percentage of sales. With no marketing budget, you'll either not invest in marketing at all, or you'll waste money on things that don't work. The percentage of sales idea is one that a lot of large companies use. They'll typically say it takes 15% of their desired future turnover to cover marketing. This is a very simple way to calculate it, but it's not necessarily true, especially for small business. The idea for you is to spend as little as you can to get the desired result. To do this, you need to understand how much your customer will be worth to your business for the next 3 years. This lets you do two things. Firstly, it tells you how many customers you need to reach your target. And secondly, it tells you how much you can spend comfortably to win each new customer. And this is your customer acquisition cost. And over time, you should track this to make budgeting more straightforward too. Of course, you'll always be trying to sell additional products to your customers. So the average lifetime value of a customer should continue to increase, which means you'll have to keep coming back to this to understand how much you can increase your budget if you really needed to. The cost of acquisition, of course, includes the cost of all of those prospects that didn't convert to customers. For example, 10,000 total cost, that was made up of 5,000 prospects. 100 customer conversions would mean the customer acquisition cost would be £100 per customer. Don't try to do this individually for every customer you have. Just look at your total marketing cost for the year and then how many new customers you secured. This gives you an average. Of course, as you increase referrals and your business gets known more across the industry, the cost will reduce. If you know this figure, let's assume it's £100 per customer and someone approaches you with an offer to get you new customers. You know that you can afford to pay them up to £100 for each new customer that they bring. But without measuring, you might have thought £100 was either too expensive or too cheap, depending on what your business does. I'm just using these numbers as examples. You might think it's out of the question to spend £100 for every new customer, but there's two things to consider in this. First, don't forget to factor in the time element. That's your time and your staff's time. It's quite common to have someone working on a tender or a bid for 6 weeks or more as a business starts to grow and you start aiming for those higher sales targets. Even if you spend just 1 day working on it, if you haven't factored in that cost, how will you know? Secondly, the cost of acquisition is relative to the business and what's purchased. You wouldn't pay £100 for a customer that was only spending £79, but similarly, £100 for a customer that will spend £20,000 seems a bit more of a bargain. Now, what we have so far is your goals, your customer acquisition cost. Now let's look at your marketing budget. If you want to add 100 new customers and you know your acquisition cost is £10, your marketing budget is £1,000. You could allow a contingency at this point in case something doesn't quite go to plan. You don't know what external factors might come up that might stop people from spending money as easily. As you test, track and measure, your marketing results will improve and the cost of acquisition will reduce. You're going to take the marketing budget now and make a plan based on that. You'll roll it out in small batches. You'll test and measure and then aim to improve each one. Don't forget that your budget needs to factor in things like your website cost, any graphic design fees, overhead such as desk space for your marketing team, etc. Then you've got the active promotional expenses with each campaign. So let's look at the marketing calendar. Now you need to take your marketing budget and your tactics and plan them throughout the year. Try to factor in for timescales. If you know it takes 3 months for an average customer to come through the process, and you need 10 new customers live by, say, month 4, you need to have those 10 factored into months 1 and 2. The easiest way to get it right is to reverse engineer the process. Start at the end of the year with the desired outcome and just reverse the process so you can see what the latest dates are for starting each activity. By doing this, it makes sure you hit your targets. You'll need to plan your entire year based on the supporting tasks that you need in place to achieve those results. For example, in month 3, you might need graphic design work doing for a new brochure. In month 7, you might have a website going live that features your new product downloads. Plan all of these milestones and supporting tasks into the calendar system. If you wanted to create marketing themes every month, you could build this into the calendar. For example, in month 2, you might be creating the referral system. In month 4, you might be building your PR system. By working this system, you can make massive progress over the course of 6 to 12 months. So here's some tips for success. First of all, block out calendar time. You can't do marketing if you don't dedicate time to it. Take your diary and block out time for marketing every week. If it's possible, write in a set of results you'll achieve in that period. For example, you'll identify and call 3 magazine editors. Whatever you do, don't cancel that appointment. Not until you've got someone else to do it on your behalf. And then you still need to make the time to set targets with them. One tip: on a Monday morning, write 5 activities you need to get done that week. For example, call 5 customers, call 5 prospects, etc. You can do it every day, or you could block out time in a single day to do it. But by writing down the task you need to do, it keeps it fresh in your mind that you need to do it, and the deadline is moving closer. So here's the actions to help you get the most from this learning session. Number 1, determine your marketing goals. Number 2, how will you measure your marketing success? Number 3, create a marketing budget. And number 4, create a marketing calendar. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you've got some value from this. You can download the workbook by clicking the link below. If you think others would get some value from it, please invite them to join the various social media groups and pages. And that's it until the next time. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you next time.